I'm so happy again to be speaking to our good friend Bob Kudla from Trade Genius, but specifically tradewithlionel.com, tradewithlionel.com at 800-1-800-949-1408. When you call, make sure you mention you heard this with Lionel. Now, why would you call? Here's why. Bob Kudla, every time we talk, every time we speak, it's something completely different. You've never repeated yourself. Every installment, every interview, every time I've spoken, I've learned so much. Today's subject is called The Great Rotation. And it sounds it sounds like something you can maybe see in an old Tijuana movie in the old days, but this is something very, very critical, very interesting. What does it imply, sir?
Yeah, well, if I start repeating myself, I guess I'll retire then, because then I know it's over for me. But yeah, the Great Rotation is basically, if you think about what economic environment, right? You have a Goldilocks environment where there's just enough growth in the environment, enough excitement about the future that stock prices just generally rise, lifts all boats kind of category. Then you have we're going into recession, market crash scenario. But the third area is the Great Rotation. And this is when people suspect that economic environment is deteriorating, which it is, but the government and the banking system keep flooding the economy with money, and it doesn't know where to go. So it goes into financial assets, which it has been going since 2014. Okay, so whenever you see the stock market rise faster than GDP, it means that there's too much money in the system, and it doesn't have really good productive places to go, so it goes into speculation. People don't really know that. So that's whenever you get above trend growth in the stock market or real estate market, is that there's more money in the system that could be productively put to use for economic growth, so it goes into speculation. And then you get to a point now where the economic environment is deteriorating, but they don't know, the policymakers don't want to end the party, if you will. So then it starts moving into inflation protected assets. And so you start getting a rotation out of the financial assets because, you're not going to buy NVIDIA here at outrageous price to earnings, right? You're not going to buy banks when banks are going under left and right. So where does the money move? It moves into things that have what's called book value or tangible value, things that will hurt if it drops on your foot, because you're trying to protect yourself now, because now this part of the economic cycle is they debase the currency. Okay. They got to keep the party going. There's not enough activity economically to support the taxes that they need to cover the deficit spending. And we're raising deficits at a rate of $1 trillion every 100 days, which is just out. You can't even imagine that. You couldn't count to $1 trillion in 25,000 lifetimes. Okay. And so you have an environment now where big money is starting to move. Started to move in Bitcoin, started to move in oil, now it's starting to move in gold and silver and copper. And so the whole space now is starting to lift. And this is reminiscent of the 1970s again. And so if you're a trader, you should have been shifting over to these hard asset trades beginning of last year. Even though the tech stocks were still booming, they've stalled out. Okay. And other than NVIDIA and SMCI and some of the Mag 7 stocks, which are the highest cap stocks, the stock market's been flat now for the last 2 years. People don't realize that. They tell you on TV the market's up 22%. Well, only if you've been in 10 stocks. And, yeah. And the funny thing about it is that you go to any financial advisor, they're not going to put you in those 10 stocks. You may own some of those or a portion of your portfolio in some of those, but that's suicide. They would get sued out of existence for not doing their fiduciary responsibility to protect you. And so it looks like the market's doing better, and people look at their 401ks and like, no, it's not getting better. They see economic activities falling. They see inflation rising. Big money's moving into hard assets. What are hard assets? They're buying Bitcoin. They're buying Bitcoin miners. They're buying gold stocks. They're buying silver stocks. They're buying copper companies. They're buying steel stocks. Okay. Real estate, because interest rates are so high, real estate's not a place to go. So there's only one last place for speculation before the whole thing comes crashing down. And those are the areas which I mentioned. And we're in those at Trade Genius because our algorithm saw this coming months and months ago. We've been riding the wave on Bitcoin, been riding the wave on the miners, we've been riding the wave on copper companies and oil and energy stuff. I never left energy all through it. Everybody told you energy's dead. We're going into recession. ExxonMobil's pushing back up to its all-time highs again. The drillers are starting to get bids. Ukraine is bombing Russian oil refineries. You got the Houthis out there trying to blow up oil tankers. So it's a if you can separate yourself from the morality of all that,
yes,
that's where the money's going to be made. And so that's where you need to be. That's where we have people, and that's how we're trading it.
And Bob, you never hear any of this. Just give me 1 second. You never hear any of this on any of the financial shows, on any of the usual suspects. And again, I tell people, tradewithlionel.com right now or call 1-800-949-1408, because what you do is, rather than say, okay, that's nice. Now with all due respect, because I know what you're talking about, but there are very few people that I know who would know what you just said or who can work with it. They understand the concepts of it. But if I were to go to tradewithlionel.com by calling 1-800-949-1408, and I said, listen, I just saw Lionel and Bob talk about something which I want to be involved with, but I don't know where to start. If I join up, will I be privy to what you just said and your wealth of information and your fluidity of thought? How does this work? How can I jump on board? Because what you're saying is incredible.
Yeah, so our service is multidimensional. So we have, when you join, you get access to the algorithm. So you can actually trade stocks that we may not be trading. We give trades out every day. Like we just bought a uranium company today. We bought a pharmaceutical company today. When I mean we bought, we put it out there. They had to trade signal hit. You're doing your own trading. We have training that's teaching you how to use it. And then we have a chat room where you could chat with us. And then we have an advanced chat room where you could talk to me. So we have that part of the service. And as long as you're a subscriber, that's what you get. You literally could join tomorrow, tomorrow, and then on Monday, if I put a trade out, you can take the trade. And you get access to the algorithms that are on part of the Trading View platform, so that we overlay onto that. And it's very visual. Maybe one of these next time we talk, I can show people what the algorithm looks like. It's so simple. All the work's behind the scenes, everything's visual. I'm lazy. I want it just to present to me. I don't have to interpret. I don't want to, have a Ouija board out there trying to figure out, is this a buy or sell? You look at some of this stuff, people, you get a headache looking at, is this a buy or sell? Our system is much, much more simplified for you to be able to take the trades. And so that's what we do. Yeah. And then the other thing too, the reason why you don't hear these things on the mainstream media is that it's either law firms or pharmaceutical companies or financial firms that pay the bills, right? So they're certainly not going to do articles that go against any of those three industries, because you're just cutting your own throat, right? And so you don't bite the hand that feeds you. So they're not going to sit up there and people are going to say sell bank stocks, right? When they go to commercial break and it's Morgan Stanley, they're advertising the NBC. Right. It doesn't happen. So you have to be really careful in the news. And look, I'm not saying they're evil, bad, corrupt, or anything. You just have. That's just the way it is. If somebody's supporting you, just human nature will tell you you're going to give them the halo effect or the benefit of the doubt, right? And so, that's why COVID became such an issue, because they threw so much money at it. So you have to do your own homework. And so what our algorithm did was, and look, I was suspect to this too. That's the problem. So I just said, in order for me to not be swayed, math is math, right? You're a lawyer. Law is law. It's just so easy to not like, oh my gosh, you're going to buy that stock. Well, my algorithm says it was already bought. You should be selling that stock. So that's what we've done. I did it to protect myself. We've had this algorithm running for nearly a decade now. It works great. It's not nirvana, But the way trading works is that it's high probabilities, right? So we put people in high probability opportunities. You manage it through trade management, and then you can't help but make money over time. How do I know that? Because you look at my track record. We post every trade that we put out officially. We put on our track record, so you can see what the win rate is, and then what's called the profit factor is.
You
And
know,
time.
you said something before. It was so interesting. I was thinking of you recently. I was talking to a friend of mine. He says, "Are you into crypto?" And I said, let me ask you a question. I said, what's the difference between crypto? Sounds like a joke. What's the difference between crypto, Bitcoin, and others? And do you understand it? And do you have to understand something because that's what people are saying. You've heard this Warren Buffett. I don't understand what this is. And if I got to be able to understand it. Well, there's a lot of things I don't understand. Bob, you and I have had surgery or medical procedures that we don't understand. We kind of listen to other people who do understand it. But just very quickly, is it Bitcoin you're talking about or crypto? Is there a difference? And is there a future for this? Because that is the only thing that I've seen in recent times, just as an observer of human behavior, that excites people. Real estate doesn't have young people. It just sounds crypto. It sounds intriguing, and of course it is. But is there a difference?
Yeah, I mean, look, cryptocurrency is a process, right? It's a way in which you're processing digital assets, right, in a way that's secure, and it has all the benefits of gold, but none of the detraction of gold, because you're able to safely move this asset anywhere in the world at any time. It has millions of users and thousands of nodes that are constantly checking on each other. So fraud is very, very difficult, to achieve in it. But crypto is a process that has many, many digital coins in it, right? Bitcoin is a specific cryptocurrency asset that happens to be the largest one. So you hear the phrase Bitcoin and you hear altcoin, right?
Mm.
But Bitcoin's the big dog. And so then there's a third aspect to it called the Bitcoin miners or the altcoin miners. And so there are a number of Bitcoin miners that are public companies out there. So there's three ways in which you can play it. But remember, the altcoins are really always looking at the big dog, right? And so you usually have this seesaw where Bitcoin goes up, the altcoins may not go up with it because they're sucking all the oxygen out of the room. Then you have a situation where Bitcoin's going up and it's dragging all the coins with them because it's in a euphoric state. And then you get a situation where Bitcoin goes down and the altcoins get crushed because money's leaving the market. So it's its own ecosystem. Right. But I personally just trade the Bitcoin miners. My partner pretty much just trades Bitcoin himself. So just so people know, if they want to join our service, my partner who focuses on the cryptocurrency market, he was a miner back in the the mid 2012, 2013 timeframe when this thing was pennies on the dollar. Okay. And he's a Bitcoin maximalist. That means that most of his financial assets or net worth is tied up in Bitcoin. So he follows it very closely. We trade in and out. He keeps a core position. He goes long and short, but he keeps a core long position. And you do the same thing with the Bitcoin miners. There's ETFs out there now, like BITI, BITO, where you can actually trade Bitcoin futures without having to open up a Coinbase account or a futures account. So it's a nice way in which you can trade with that crypto. And it is exciting. People are always asking me now that it hit its all-time highs, is it going to crash? It's consolidating on high right now. As long as it doesn't break $55,000, $60,000 area, on like a weekly basis, then it's a good chance it's going to 109 or 113. And then from there, it'll pull back pretty significantly. So that's where we are with that. It's definitely, you can see a bifurcation. It's a young man's game, although older people now are starting to get involved because institutions are getting involved. But I would say that 40-year mark, if you're over 40, people tend to drift towards gold and silver. If you're under 40, you're tending drifting towards the crypto assets. But I'm over 40, and I just love this asset because It's difficult. The government would have to shut the internet down to shut Bitcoin down. Okay, so it's definitely a competition to the money changers out there, and just like gold of old is. But the difference is that push comes to shove, you got to leave the country. You can walk out of the country and your Bitcoin's waiting for you to go new. You try to walk out of the country with a bunch of gold bars. I'm sure customs would have something to say about it.
Yes, they would. Tradewithlionel.com. Call 1-800-949-1408. So let's just do a little role play. I call up. I say, hello, I heard Bob and Lionel on. I don't know where to start. I want to do this. I want to know. I want the algorithm. I want to be able to know what's trade. I want to know what is happening day to day. And I want you to tell me what to do or provide me with a menu and let me pick what I feel comfortable with. What do I do? How fast can I start? How easy is it? Tell me the process because it's very easy.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to know what you want to do, right? So, are you a basic trader? Are you a more advanced trader? Do you want to trade stocks? Do you want to trade crypto? Do you want to trade both? Do you want to get more involved in more advanced topics? And based on that, we have 7 different choices that you can make. They're already pre-discounted, 65% off. Let them know that you came from us. If you just go through the landing page, there's 2 basic options for you, basic and advanced. If you want to do more things on the menu, just go to the website, tell them you came from us, you get your discounts applied. Lionel gets credit. I support Lionel's channel that way. And then you, the very next day, you can start taking the trades. You get into the chat room right away. You need a TradingView account. There's free versions of that. We overlay our indicator packages onto that, and which are where the algorithms reside. And then you're in the chat room, and then there's training that you can access from the website that we give you on your welcome package. And that's it.
At any level, beginner, advanced, intermediate, anybody is the perfect match for this, correct?
Yeah, look, I have financial managers, asset managers that use our stuff. So we have really good systems. At the same time, we're in these rooms talking to people, and I don't care if it's your first day trading or if you're 50 years trading. I've been doing this my whole life. So I can talk at any level to any person, and we love teaching people. So we have no problem with somebody asking the most basic question, because at some point in my life, I asked those same questions.
Yes.
So it's a lot of fun. It keeps me young, and I enjoy it. And it's really the nice thing about trading is you automatically, if you can do this and you can do this well, you can create a second life for yourself. And a lot of people don't, that's not their goal. A lot of people just want to earn a little extra money. Some people just want to know that they're on the right side of things. So, but what we charge for the service is nothing. I mean, you would spend more money doing stupid things than you would paying for a year of our service. So I really encourage it. I mean, we had a guy just the other day, just wrote us a really nice note, said he started with us 4 years ago. He's still with us. He was able to quit his job and he's trading full time. And he said more than just us giving him good trades, we gave him good practices, but also we give him really good insights. And it's not just me. I have people in the room. I have executives for Fortune 500 companies that come in and out of this room. And so you get a wealth of knowledge. When you come in, people ask, you would imagine the questions people ask us, in terms of trying to understand the world. And the other nice thing too is, we're kind of self-selected. People that are listening to you have a certain viewpoint of the world. Your viewpoint and my viewpoint generally align. And that's most of the people that are customers. So it's a safe place to be able to discuss sensitive topics.
Well, I have heard nothing but great stuff. Nothing but people who have contacted me and thanked me. And you are a wealth of information. If you ever did this full time, I mean, not full time, but I mean, just in the media world, let's just assume Jim Cramer wouldn't be able to sleep at night because what you have thrown away, what you can just at a party, they must just stick to you like glue because what you say just in passing is information that nobody knows, nobody talks about, and because it's real, it's valid, and all you want to do is to just pass the truth on, to bring people on board, and to train them and teach them the way of Trade Genius. So go to tradewithlionel.com, tradewithlionel.com. Tell them, or call, I should say, 800-949-1408. Tell them you heard Bob and Lionel. This is the Lionel. You get a special treatment, special deal. And Bob Kudla, as always, it is such a pleasure speaking with you. And I'm always going to think of you with the Great Rotation. It's going to be my next garage band, the Great Rotation. Bob Kudla, thank you, my friend.
Thank you. You're too kind. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir.